Bonjour tout le monde. So today is October 17th. We're doing another live French lesson. So we're taking some short phrases and creating kind of a brief introduction, kind of like about 50 words or so. So I'm going to read this text that I just wrote in French here. So bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre, je viens de Paris, mais actuellement j'habite à Nantes. Je travaille comme professeur de français dans un lycée. J'aime lire et voyager en Europe. Le week-end, je nage. J'ai deux sœurs et un frère. J'ai 25 ans et je ne suis pas encore marié. Okay, I'll read this one more time. Bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre. Je viens de Paris, mais actuellement, j'habite à Nantes. Je travaille comme professeur de français dans un lycée. J'aime lire et voyager en Europe. Le week-end, je nage. J'ai deux sœurs et un frère. J'ai 25 ans et je ne suis pas encore marié. So, hi, my name is Pierre or Peter. I come from Paris, but currently I live in Nantes. I work as a French teacher in a high school. I like to read and travel in Europe. On weekends, I go swimming. I have two sisters and a brother. I'm 25 years old and I'm not married yet. Okay. So a few things on here. So je m'appelle, this is the verb appeler or s'appeler, to call oneself. And in French, make sure that you change, there's two P, two L's when you conjugate this for je m'appelle. I come from, so this is the verb venir, to come. I come from Paris. Or you could say je suis de Paris, I am from Paris. And actuellement, as I mentioned this in the Spanish video as well, actualmente and actuellement are false cognates with English. That does not mean actually, it means currently. And there's also a word of like these actualité is current events. So those would be another way to talk about the news. So when you're using actuellement, it's what you are currently doing right now, like in this moment. So j'habite à Nantes. I live in the city of Nantes. So je travaille comme professeur. That's one way to say how you work. I work as a teacher. You could just say je suis professeur de français. So I am a French teacher, or je travaille comme professeur de français. And a lycée is a French high school. And if you were talking about the years before high school, middle school, that would be collège. Collège. That's another false cognate. That's not college, like university in English. Collège is actually middle school. So when children are in like 7th grade, 8th grade, and also in the French school system, the numbers are a little different on here. So sorry for the interruption here. There's a telephone call, but I'll keep going here. So in the French school system, I know that from up until grade 6, 6 is where, like an American system and French system, that year is the same. And then after grade 6 until the end of high school, there is cinquième, quatrième, troisième, seconde, première, terminale. And terminale is like the last year of high school. So you might want to look that up if you have kids going into schools in the French system, or if you are in the French system and you want to kind of take a look at the American systems. So all school systems around the world, they have a different way of counting the years and the names of those years. Okay. What you like to do, j'aime lire et voyager en Europe. So I like to read, I like to travel. In this case with French, I like, this is very similar to English, I like. It's not quite like in other languages where it might be a reflexive structure using like to me, something pleases me. No, this is like in English, I like this. Of I'm the person doing the action, I like this. Okay. On the weekends, le weekend, so they just use the word le weekend, je nage. In Canadian, French and Québécois, they use les fins de semaine. So it is actually a translation into French, but in French, typically in France, they use the expression weekend. In terms of your family, you would say, like, for example, I have 2 sisters and a brother. So you're using the verb avoir, j'ai deux sœurs et un frère. In terms of your age, when you're saying like, I am 25 years old, you use this expression, j'ai 25 ans. So you avoir, and then you use the number, and then ans, like A-N-S. If you are married or not, you could use, again, with être, je ne suis pas encore marié. I'm not married yet. So marié is the adjective for to be married. And it's 1 R, it's not 2 R's between the spelling there for French and English. So be careful with double consonants. That can be a little tricky between French and English to remember. Is it 1 L? Is it 2 L's? Is it 1 P? Is it 2? That's very common. And when I was starting to live in France 14 years ago, when I moved there in 2002, I started spelling English words with the French spelling. So I remember I started writing things like literature with 2 T's, or apartment with 2 P's, or resources with 2 S's. So very quickly, the French spelling started to kind of affect my English a little bit. So just be careful. I mean, you might use spell check and stuff on the computer, but kind of just keep an eye on some of those words. If they look similar to English, just try that. And some other things on here. So it doesn't take a lot of vocabulary, but within about 50 words or so, you can create a bit of an introduction here to introduce yourself, say where you're from, where you live, what your work is, what you like to do, what you like to do on the weekends, and describe a little bit about your family, or how old you are, and whether you have kids or whether you're married or not. And that allows, if you were talking to a native speaker, that allows them a little information about you, so that you can start to have something to talk about. And sometimes it's also easy to talk about your family, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your children, or your parents, instead of going straight towards the things that you like or don't like, in case that might be a little hard to make a conversation. Sometimes it's easier to talk about a third person and to describe them. So you may also want to start looking at the third person conjugations. I think we'll start doing that in the next week, is being able to describe other people, like our friends, our family, our husband, our wife. So we'll take some of these introductions that we've had so far of like, I'm from this, and maybe asking questions about a language exchange partner or a teacher. And now we can start looking at people in the third person. And that'll be helpful for being able to talk about, brothers, sisters, family, friends, and also in the singular and the plural. So like my friend, my friends. So we'll take a look at that in the next lesson. That'll be coming up next week, and I'll be preparing materials for that in this case. I'll read the text one more time here. So, bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre, je viens de Paris, mais actuellement j'habite à Nantes. Je travaille comme professeur de français dans un lycée. J'aime lire et voyager en Europe. Le week-end, je nage. J'ai 2 sœurs et un frère. J'ai 25 ans et je ne suis pas encore marié. Okay. So if you have any questions about the French grammar, the French vocabulary, feel free to leave a comment on the video or in the Facebook group, and please like and subscribe and share, and I'll be continuing to produce more content for French and for the other languages, like we're doing Russian, Italian, Spanish, French, and German. So feel free to watch those videos as well and to participate in them. So thank you very much for watching, and look forward to another lesson next week. Take care.